listened to those two, and I just decided literally at that moment, no, this is what I want to do for this one. I don't care about anything else. No more girls. I just want to play guitar. No more girls.
What's going on, guys? Danny Dela Cruz here, and I am joined by the amazing Igor Paspalj.
Thank you, man, and nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, and yourself, man.
Great to be here.
It's been an awesome few days. There's been some serious shredding happening, and ultimately we just thought we'd set the camera up and kind of document a little session, I guess, talking about some of the techniques and some of the passions that we share on the guitar, and just have a bit of conversation for you guys. Who were the first guys that you started listening to that made you think, right, now I want to incorporate speed into my playing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was, I have to admit, when I started playing guitar very early days, and I was actually pretty late. I mean, started when I was something like 14 years old. I wished I started when I was 5 or 4 or 3, but it didn't happen. Anyway, I started, to be honest, for like girls and stuff like that. Yeah, I just kept like that. Yeah, I have to be honest. And then by accident,
I love the honesty.
But that lasted very shortly, because very soon I ran into some old, cassette tape.
Yeah.
I find there was a recording from my friend. Actually, he was recording something for me to listen to it. And he recorded over Eruption and from Eddie Van Halen, and there was also Far Beyond the Sun of Ingrid Malmsteen on that. Wow. And I listened to those two, and I just decided literally at that moment, no, this is what I want to do for this one. I don't care about anything else. No more girls. I just want to play guitar. No more girls. So
they're two of the best things you could have listened to.
Literally one after another. Like first Eruption, that was probably the best I ever heard, and still is like one of the favorites. Whenever you hear it, it's just something unbelievable. And then Far Beyond the Sun. And that was definitely my first 2 guitar heroes.
Very cool. So if you could name your top 5 heroes, who would they be?
Top 5 all the time.
And that's pretty hard to
It's very hard, but let's say it would definitely be Eddie Van Halen, Ingrid Malmsteen, Joe Satriani.
It's pretty solid so far.
Steve Vai, got to go on.
Nice.
I would also like to put Paul Gilbert somewhere inside.
Yes.
6, let's say. So
I definitely hear some of that in your playing.
But so that's something like that. Just Run is still, my favorites for melodies, for, from songwriting stuff, really like that. Guthrie is my all-time favorite for, well, basically everything.
Yeah.
Geez, I'm absolute wizard, in every style.
I mean, a lot of people always say about Guthrie, like, he can play any style. You can put him in any kind of situation, and he would come out of that.
And he's not just, he's not just gonna, go through it and do the job. He's gonna be amazing.
He's gonna nail it.
While some of the guitarist heroes, I'm not gonna name them, but I cannot imagine them playing jazz or playing country. I just and I never heard them, and they probably can't play that.
Yeah,
he's one of the really, whatever you throw at him, just plays.
I know what you mean. There's a lot of, like you say, I've got a lot of guitar heroes as well, that they're just amazing at that one style.
What they do. And that's perfectly fine.
They're innovators.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. But players like Guthrie, you can really throw them into any kind of situation,
exactly.
Which is really cool. Hey, this is Danny Dela Cruz from JTC Guitar, the world's best online guitar learning platform. And I'm very pleased to say that we are going to be bringing you more guitar-related content on this channel. There's a lot coming your way. Make sure that you hit subscribe and smash that bell so that you don't miss out. Back to the video. I heard a lot of your kind of playing over the last 3 days. And filming and stuff. And some of your licks are very kind of Paul Gilbert in the way they're structured in these kind of... more picking and that kind of thing.
I mean, I use the same thing that he's calling it, some people calling it cheating sometimes, but it's not cheating. Basically combining these Camerons both with alternate picking. So you have time and opportunity to rest a little bit, and it sounds cool, stuff like, for example, you do.
Yeah.
So it's very cool, for example, to not the mute first string.
Nice.
To play it like that. Of course, you can play full alternate picking, but it's just too. First, is much harder. Second, sounds too synthetic, and it's you're slower basically. You can speed up like this. So that's the thing. And I mean, I like that. I like a lot of these symmetrical shapes. I like stuff that repeats, like you take a pattern and then move it to 3 octaves or 2 octaves. I like this kind of stuff because it's kind of, and for listener, it gives a sense of repetition. Kinds of, I like it. I don't like too complex, let's say, licks or something in terms of, this is a lick and now it's happening like it's a 60 bars of all kind of stuff. That's not like this full solo. That's so. If you are talking about licks and patterns, I like patterns to be as simple as possible, but for example, developed in that way. For example, as you heard these days, I like something very, as you said, Paul Gilbert, like you said.
So it's kind of like you're saying you like to use things that are quite familiar to a listener, but at the same time, you're moving through in a familiar way, but it's technical as well.
Yes, so it's more technical demanding. It's not when you analyze it, harmonically or tonally, whatever. It's very simple. It's 6 notes, and you have a feel. It's listener have a feel. It's happening. God knows what, some big line or something, but it's not. It's basically this. But when you play it, sorry. No, you have a feeling that's much more happening than it's actually happening.
That's really interesting, and I would say that in a way I visualize and hear things like that as well, in terms of it's more rhythmic. And, like you say, they're repeating lines in octaves, but I always think that it's great to have melody, and these are kind of like, they're like drum fills. If you're playing a drum, you've got your main beat, which is like the
exactly
melody,
yes,
and then those kind of licks in between, they're like fills to kind of fill it out. And in our kind of territory on the guitar, we're using it to travel as well.
Yeah, that's a good comparison actually. I mean, I never thought it about with comparison with drum, but you're right, absolutely.
It's like little fills, and you're kind of traveling through, which is really cool. And tell us about some of the kind of crazy stuff you were doing in your playthrough Bangla Road. I really like the whole tone. Stuff that you were doing.
Well, I mean, there's some chromatics.
How did you come up with that? Where does that come from? It's awesome.
No, because it's like in A minor, and it's just one section finished. So basically, from E minor, just finishing on E flat augmented chord.
Okay.
So for that, perfect. You can just go, whole tone scale. And then go back to basically resolve it to E. Something like that. And there's a lot of these techniques. I like to do that lately, with hybrid picking, with these muted stuff like.
It goes back to that percussive thing we were talking about earlier.
That's more like, I would say, Nuna influence, Nuna Bettingworth, right?
And it's very Kotzen as well.
That's right.
I love Kotzen as well. It's very
actually, sorry, yes. I mean, I probably heard first time these kind of licks from him, and maybe even Greg Howe in his
cool.
early days. But lately it became, since that solo rise, it's very well, whatever it goes. I mean,
I can't do any justice, but that whole, is it He-Man Woman Hanger?
But I don't know how to play that. Yeah, something like that.
It's all about the left hand. Is that?
And it's always. I mean, I do it. I don't think he does it with hybrid pick, or I'm not sure. I think he does it with the pick hole. I like to do it, this way. So right hand is going to be pick, and then
left.
And then left hand, same this one. And again, it's based on the same thing that we're talking about transposition, like one pattern through 3 octaves. This is not through octave. This is just following the scale, but exactly the same thing. And stuff like that.
Basically, that's what pentatonic.
Exactly.
So we're kind of taking pentatonic scales, applying a different technique to it.
Just taking one pattern, basically driving it down the pentatonic scale.
I mean, I even saw what you were doing there with some of the hammer-ons and pull-offs. Is you were going up the scale, up the shape, and then coming back, you know. Going up and down. That's a great technique as well.
And sounds very nice. I love this percussive sound, but it can be tricky. You know, you have to. You can see, like my literally volume is on 2 for that. You see,
Okay.
You know, to get it really, you don't want your guitar, you know, on full. So it's just that you really need
It's a lot of noise.
Yeah, really not too much gain. It sounds much better, you know.
That's
For
cool. That's a
example,
great tip.
Yeah, and I saw what Nuno is doing. He said that he's like using a red distortion.
Yes.
Everything
yeah.
on 0. He said, and everybody told him like it doesn't do anything. But when he engaged, he said, I can feel in that percussive part is doing something. I never tried it. I don't have red distortion, but
I had
probably
a chance
does
to try it recently
okay.
with the settings. You know, obviously it would be a different year.
Yeah, different guitar and everything.
Whatever. I tried it through a classic Marshall, and it's got that kind of, it like tightens up, kind of like what you're using with the tube screamer.
Yeah, tightens up the sound with these basses and everything. Yeah, probably
exactly.
it helps.
So it tightens up, which is cool, but it's a bit more aggressive. It's a bit more like nasty.
Yeah, not the gnarly.
But I've always loved that tone. Like you say, it's very percussive, and I think there's a lot of stuff about this conversation that we're having that people can take into your courses as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially the ones that we filmed the last few days, because I think people can go ahead, they can learn something from that and go, right, what do I need to focus on in regards to my technique? And if they take that same technique that they take from your courses, I think they can apply that to a lot of other scales, a lot of other methods.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I cannot stress enough. And, you know, that some people, especially, you know, at some this foundation level, they tend to take things too literally. You know, for example, they get their hands on some guitar course, guitar videos, and for example, instructor, let's say that the teacher show them something, and he plays it, of course, like I don't know. Okay, it's example repeated 2 times. Yeah. Of course, for sake of, it's a demonstration, sake of saving space, saving, you know, time, video time, whatever. And people used to take it literally, you know, they fire up the video, they learn, and they practice with that instructor, literally play 2 times and move on. No, it's an example. So repetition. If you take this example, so, you know, play it more, just keep it 2-3 minutes, you know. Then if you have a knowledge, if you're not a complete beginner, you know, move it around the scales, move it around again, use it as a 2-3 string pattern over 3 octaves. Do. Then again, what you can else do, then when you get more advanced, you take some compositional techniques and apply it to this. So first thing, what I would do always when I was used to learn lick, I would do the opposite. You know, I would do backwards.
Right.
So if it's
interesting.
And then you can, for example, you know, and now.
So quite literally, you learn something inside out.
Yeah. Basically, you go backwards. You know, this. Just start from lowest note and follow the exchange of intervals, you know, in literal fashion. So it's going.
That's cool. Because you're changing the intervals as well.
Exactly. And then, you know, apply it over some chord progression, and you have a solo, you have a corporal, you have a lick. You know, take it, for example, take that changed version. Let's call it ascending, because go down. You know, immediately you have some longer run and longer exercise. If you are, you know, bothered to, as I said, repeat something at the same spot, of course, it's more boring. Although it's very beneficial, again, to develop the stamina, to develop dexterity, to develop, obviously, what's the word for endurance, right, and that stuff.
Exactly.
But if you're bored for one, just take it, you know, move it, you know, horizontally, vertically up the scale, you know, in every possible fashion. So you can do a lot with some simple pattern. Just, you know, be creative and try to come up with something of your own. Of course,
definitely. You remind me of something else that I was thinking about. So I hear it a lot in your playing as well. But you were showing some of those kind of shapes that are spread out across a few strings, and you can go vertically and stuff like that. I know that you're a Malmsteen fan. I'm also a massive Malmsteen fan as well. And some of the first kind of fast playing that I ever learned was very Malmsteen kind of inspired. And I really like the way that he moves on one string. So I think that's a great thing for people that are learning speed as well. Just
it is, and it's also benefit really that position shifting. Actually, maybe one thing I didn't forgot to mention it, but one tip when people changing position, if you do stuff like, for example, like when you talking about keys lick, like. Sorry. Or I remember that, But anyway, when changing position, what people I think some people do wrong, or what they could improve to do it better. For example, when you have big jumps, like. Now, what people do, even when they practice slower, actually, let's start with what I think people shouldn't do, to change this position, let's say lazy, slowly. So if you do this, I don't think this is a good idea. This is an example of how I think it's not should be done. Sorry. You see how my left hand moves kind of slowly because I have time to execute it. I'm a firm believer that even if you practice this slow, that these position changes has to be swift, more faster. So even if you practice slow tempo, like for example this, you see how? Because that will help develop that precision in position shifting, which is going to be, again, sorry, I lost word. I'm not a native English speaker, but it's going to be necessary when you speed it up, because when you speed it up, you want to practice these position shifts even at slow tempo. To be precise, it's going to be much easier later to fasten things up, I guess. Again, just my 2 cents. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I think
I love that. It's something that I've never consciously thought of, but it makes a lot of sense, because essentially what you're saying is, the places that you can shave off those extra, milliseconds.
Exactly.
The places that you can, you're going to make it more efficient for yourself to play fast.
Especially later when you speed it up and speed it up. Yeah, exactly. And
that's where it's going to matter.
Not that hard, to change them a little bit more quicker than to be, with these lazy movements. It's much better to go a little bit faster, because at least that is not that hard to do, even in slower tempos. It's going to prepare you for something later that can happen.
It gets you in that good habit.
I guess so,
I mean, it's the same way that when I speak to, if people ask me, and I've got students or etc., when I speak to them about, okay, my approach to playing fast is also, kind of like what you were talking about. Don't move the pick too far away from your string. And you spoke about also being ready.
Ready. Sweep picking especially.
Economy and sweep picking. If you're playing a lick like, you want to be waiting on the next string.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And the same for speed picking as well. It's just like, when you're kind of descending, you want to make sure that you're not up here when you pick.
Exactly. And again,
it's about shaving those milliseconds.
But what some people do, because they're practicing slow, say they don't pay attention, so they will do their right hand, their picking hand is gonna go, too far away. No, just
Yes.
So it's the less movement, but it's still important when practicing slow to really, I don't know. This is good. We're going to hear. You see how I'm digging into strings. So first of all, you're going to get better sound, and you're going to develop more strength when you speed up, because inevitably you're going to lose some strength when you speed up, and that motion is going to be shorter and shorter. So it's really, and I think sounds better, when you play it like. Then if you play, and if you don't. Right. But there's people who play like this.
You want the string to compress.
Exactly. And you want really to... You don't want... It just doesn't sound right. Even no matter how much distortion you have or compression, it's always going to sound better if you really a little bit dig into the strings. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
definitely. And I think more recently, I've been enjoying little things like this that are kind of not on the topic of necessarily getting faster or anything,
Okay.
but it's more like a phrasing thing and a tonal thing. For a long time, for me, it's like players like Zakk Wylde.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
And the wide vibrato.
Yeah, of course.
But then I started really enjoying the other side of the pick. So with this side of the pick, if you get that kind of scoopy motion, a lot of people know you get that kind of, you know, that kind of thing. But I've really enjoyed the other side of the pick with the finger, because you can get these kind of tones.
Yeah, but basically play with upstrokes, right?
Yeah.
Santana do that. You know, Santana likes to do that. Like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I never actually, and there was so many times that I figured it out, promised myself I'm going to play some of these licks, just using upstrokes, and just kind of forget about it. But yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's really the different sound, like, sorry.
Yeah.
It has this chirp that you cannot just get. It's completely different sound.
I think it sits different in the mix as well. So it's a really cool like tool to have it in your arsenal when you're playing solo. It's like I actually did it trying to emulate Michael Schenker's kind of technique.
Okay.
He plays with a coctois, so that sits in a very cut through register. But also, it's got like
it has this click, some kind of, it's hard to describe, like a little bit nasal, like almost like all out of phase, right?
Yeah,
something
exactly. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you.
Pleasure was mine, and
thank you over at JTC, and it's been mind blowing watching you perform.
Thanks, man. Pleasure was mine. We enjoyed these 3 days hanging out with everybody.
Yeah, man.
We had a nice time. So
sweet, man. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
See you guys. Signing out. See you next time.
See ya. Thanks for watching.